We frequently need to edit text files. Probably at this point in my life, 90% of the files that I edit are just text files. I would prefer to create something in a text editor or use a text language like Markdown, something like that, to create documents rather than opening up Microsoft Word, something like that. So especially on Linux systems, configuration files, they're stored as text in most cases. So being able to look at those files, edit those files is important. In Linux systems, Nano is probably the easiest editor to use to edit text files using a command line interface. So we're going to learn to use Nano. It's not available on every single Linux systems, especially ones that are really pared down, but it's available on most systems by default in Linux. All right, so we should know how to work with files and directories a little bit, change directories, create files with touch. All right, through magic, I just updated the instructions here to make sure they work well in our environment. Okay, so we're going to go to our home directory, cd tilde, pwd, make sure we are there in our home Ubuntu directory. All right, that's good. Let's create a directory called poetry. We're going to write some poetry. Make dir poetry. And then I'll cd p and just hit tab. It'll complete that for me. All right, so I'm in a poetry directory now. And I'm going to create an empty file called haiku.txt. So touch haiku.txt. So it's empty. If I run ls-l, it's 0 bytes long. So this is an empty file. So let's edit this file. Let's actually add some text. So we'll use the nano text editor with the parameter haiku.txt. I hit tab again just to fill that in for me, just to make sure I spell it correctly. And when I hit enter, my terminal is going to be overtaken by the nano program. That's what I want to happen. That'll be a good thing. So I'm running the GNU Nano version 7.2. I'm working with a file called haiku.txt. Down at the bottom, those are my options for what I can do with the program. Like, that's kind of the menu. It's a command line menu. So those aren't things we can click on, but we can type those commands out using the control key. So this is good. So we can just start typing to add text. Again, that might seem obvious, like, of course, when you launch Notepad in Windows, you just start typing text. This will be different when we take a look at a different application. So haiku has 3 lines. Come up with your own haiku. 5 syllables, 7 syllables, then 5 syllables. Make sure it's a high quality haiku. Let's see. The Olympics, that's 3, are fun. I watched gymnastics and track. Simone is real good. All right. Excellent. So my haiku is awesome. It's in good shape. I'm happy with my poetry, ready to submit it to international competition for best haiku ever. Notice up in the top, there's an asterisk now next to my file name. That just shows that I've made changes to it. So if I want these changes to be saved, I've got to actually save this file. If I look down at the options at the bottom of the screen, like where's the save option? Well, there's this *O write out. So that means Control O. Control O writes the file. Why don't they call it save? I don't know, they just don't. So Control O, it says file name to write, haiku.txt. Yes, that's what I want. I didn't change it, so I'm just going to hit enter. And it tells me wrote 3 lines. So that's good. I can do Control X to exit nano. That's that caret X means Control X. So Control X. There's no changes, so it just lets me exit. That's fine. I can now cat haiku.txt. There's my haiku. Just beautiful, beautiful poetry. I'm going to ls list the files here. I just got haiku.txt. This time I'm going to run nano, and I'm going to do nano limerick. Now there's no file here called limerick. This is going to, by default, let me edit a new file, which will default to that name, limerick. So again, when I hit enter, it's going to take over my screen as expected. So limericks. Hopefully you know your limericks. There once was a cyber prof. This is going to be hard to do on the fly. Who logged... What rhymes with prof? Who accidentally logged off. Let's see. He lost his connection. What rhymes with connection? He had a blushed complexion from the embarrassment of accidentally getting logged off. He should go play golf. Yeah, I'm rhyming golf with prof. Deal with it. Okay, so notice we didn't name this limerick.txt. Nano does not care about the file extension. So this is, everything's fine. So the file limerick does not exist yet, but if I do Control O, Nano will say, what file name do you want? Yeah, limerick's good. I'm just going to hit enter. I'm not going to change it. I'm going to Control X to exit. Now if I ls to list my files, I've got haiku.txt and limerick. So now if I cat, I'm going to hit lam and hit tab, let it spell it for me. So yeah, that's good. Nano didn't require me to create a file first. I can just supply the name of the file I want to name it first. I tend to, by practice, just use touch to create a file, then edit it, but you don't have to. It's not required. We don't even actually have to tell Nano what file we want. If I just launch Nano, I've just got a text editor now. I launched it from my poetry working directory. So if I just give it a file name now, if I write it out, whatever file name I give it, it'll be put in my current working directory by default. So we'll create an acrostic. So SUMMER. Sunny, word that starts with U. Sunny umpires make memories even even real good ones when they mess up. Okay, whatever. there's my poem. So notice it up at the top it just says new buffer, and I've got that asterisk meaning I changed it. So if I Control O, it says what do you want to name this, and I'm going to name it acrostic.txt. Hit enter. It'll save it with that file name. Notice the file name now appears at the top. All that's good to go. So I'm going to Control X to exit. And then I'll list my files. There's acrostic.txt. So I can cat. I guess just going to type A, then hit tab. It'll fill in the rest for me. Acrostic.txt. There's my really, really pretty terrible acrostic, but takes some time. So you can print out all of them. I can cat, again, limerick. Doesn't matter if it has a txt extension or not. I can cat haiku. Oh, that's good. All right, so Nano is great. It's fairly simple to use. Control O will save our contents. Control X will exit. Nano doesn't have a lot of features, but really it doesn't really need a lot of features. It's a simple text editing program.